biological mom when you moved back with her when you were 17. So let's start from the beginning. As a young man, what happened to you that put you in foster care?
So, my mom was getting a divorce from my stepdad, and she left me at a babysitter's house for 4 months. Um, Before that, um, my childhood was there was a lot of ugliness that happened. My older brother molested me. My stepdad hit me. My mom, he has a lot of mental illness. I don't think she's an evil person. Some people say that she's evil when I talk about what happened. I think she has well intentions, but there's just a lot of mental illness and trauma going on there, and a lack of awareness. You don't treat children like that. Like,
Right.
she read the Bible while I was bent over a picnic bench with my brother, while my stepdad hit me so hard that I saw stars, and I still limp today while she was reading the Bible really loud. I mean, that's just, it's not, it's not right to do that.
Right.
And I feel any, I didn't feel loved or safe. Um, my older brother started molesting me when I was 4. There were just, I could just go into I could talk for an hour about it. I just want to give you like a quick snapshot of that. And
Okay.
so that left being neglected and abused left me open to exploitation by a pedophile, because I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted somebody to care about me. I wanted somebody to provide for me. I was 12 years old, and my mother dumped me off at the babysitter and left me there for 4 months. And that babysitter called Child Protective Services and says, this child is abandoned. The mother is doing A, B, and C. I want to be this child's foster parent.
Right. Wow.
Where was your dad with all of this? He just left the family?
Um, so my dad's actually awesome. And if he would have known about me and I would have known about him, my life would be different. His name was Alexander Taylor. He was a college professor. He slept with my mother in 1976. My mom was, she waitressed, she played gigs, she also did sex work. She did whatever she needed to do to make ends meet. And all I know for certain is that they had sex, and my mother had always told me my dad was somebody else, a boyfriend who beat her, who was a drunk. And when me and my daughter did DNA, we found my dad. So
Oh, wow. Well, that's so nice. When did you meet your father for the first time?
he already died.
Did
So
he?
yeah, I found out who he
Sorry.
was right in the middle of writing the book. And I met my brother and sisters. My sister, my oldest sister, is like the same age as my mom. It's kind of crazy.
Oh my goodness. Whoops.
Uh, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so the boyfriend that my mother had that left, she left when I was a baby. He didn't give a shit about me. The stepdad didn't give a shit about me. Foster dad, I never had a dad. Not when I was.
Right. Hmm. So now you moved in with your babysitter became your foster parent. So this is okay. So
Mhm.
in your book, this is your foster mom.
Yeah,
And
and then
and she was also a pedophile.
yeah, she was a pedophile. She was married with 2 kids my age, and she liked having kids over, and like the young boys. She was like 40, and she also was a coke dealer, and a weed dealer. And I think it was like I only been there maybe 6 months when a lady she sold cocaine to walked in her room while she was doing stuff to me, and called CPS, filed a report. They took me out and put me in a group home. I kept running away and going to the pedophile's house because I was addicted to cigarettes and wanted to feel loved. And so I was like in a group home, back and forth for a year, run away, not run away. And we got a new judge, and the new judge didn't read the file, and they just placed me permanently with the pedophile because I asked to be there.
And how old were you then?
13.
13.
Yeah. And see, that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, it doesn't matter. I didn't understand that for a large part of my life. I thought it was my fault because I kept running away and wanting to go there, right?
Right.
But
you have a sense of, wanting to feel love and wanting that validation. And when you're a child and you're starving for it, and when you get attention, good or bad, it's still attention.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a distorted view of what we feel love is. So then we feel that validation.
I just wanted to feel, and in the group homes, it didn't feel like love. It felt very clinical. Right. There was on the refrigerator door, like everybody was wearing rags. Like I didn't want to be there. And
I don't blame you.
Unacceptable. That's how we treat kids in the system. It's completely unacceptable. They deserve at least what I got in the Navy, like at least a clothing allowance, medical, their own room.
Forrest, where this may be intrusive, but where do you get to the point? So now you're 12, 13, you'll speak further, I hope, of the progression. Where do you in your mind get to the point where you realize what's being done to you, the pedophilia, that that it's wrong, that something's wrong? You said you were always blaming yourself, so that sort of gives the connotation that you don't really know better because it's a brand new experience to you. Where do you realize that it's wrong?
I knew it was wrong the whole
question.
Ashamed of it the whole time, and I didn't want anyone to know, because a child is ashamed of that kind of stuff. Even if you talk about like a boy, right, that discovers that he's got hair in his nuts and he masturbates, he doesn't want to talk about that to anybody. He's not going to admit that to his friends. I mean, even
how do you innately know? I mean, you can even strip that down. When you first masturbate, how do you know that it's a bad thing?
I've noticed boys, they all deny that they did that. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a cultural,
right.
It's
cultural thing.
Like an old joke,
right?
Like what masturbating makes you grow hair on your palm, and if you look at your palm, you probably
you go blind.
Right.
That was the big thing in religion. You go blind if you masturbate. But I think for a lot of people, I'm not speaking for Forrest, but for a lot of people, I think they do deep down, even as young as we are, know it's wrong. It's not right, but we're not sure. And
it was
apparently, yeah, go ahead.
Any difference because it was an adult. For me, my family was very right-wing fundamentalist Christian and racist and oppressive and very cold, like The Handmaid's Tale. And so my mother, what sex was, she said it was fucking and it was disgusting and it was something you would go to hell for, right? A lot of shame projected towards that anyways, even to start. So all of it was equally shameful to me because of my programming as a kid.
Right. So that part of you fragments and you disconnect from it. And I know that, when you get to a certain point in your life where you realize at some point, and I don't know, Forrest, for you becoming a dad, you realize, holy shit, all this time you didn't realize really how bad your childhood was. When you looked at your child, I know for me, when I looked at my child and I thought, wow, this isn't okay. Like everything I thought that I knew was wrong or bad or not right, it blew up almost to a meltdown to realize, oh my gosh, how could somebody do this to a child? How could a parent say this to a child? How can they not care about their child? So all those things, and for me, it was, my 30s when I had that epiphany, like, it's wrong, but you realize the significance of, wow, this wasn't okay. And I was able to realize that through my child's eyes, as an infant and a newborn. So, you don't, Blake, and I think, it's wrong, but you don't realize how significantly wrong, because you are fucked up and distorted.
I get that in both scenarios, but where is the fuck you point? It's like,
oh,
fuck you. That's going to stop.
he wants
Or
to
do
get
they
to the
stop
meat and
on their
potatoes.
own volition, or do they
Right.
get jailed, or where the victim stands up and say, fuck you, man, you ain't doing that shit anymore.
You know what that usually
you
is?
innately know it's wrong for so long, but maybe you got to survive or this. Where's the fucking red line that says, fuck you?
You know when it usually is? 52 years old.
Right.
Usually how long it takes to get to the point. 52. And I realized a little bit at a time. I didn't even remember all of it for years, man. I spent so much. I wanted to be in the Navy and be a perfect sailor and drink to forget the rest of the time. And then when I got sober, I wanted to be a perfect sober AA guy. And then I wanted to do all the right things, look the right way, dress the right way. When I went back into the military, I wanted to die the right way. When I learned how to tattoo, I wanted to tattoo the right way, do all these right. I mean, I became so consumed with anything but that. I was running from that for a long time, for a long time. And I talked about it a little bit. I said, well, yeah, I got molested. Yeah, I had a rough time when I was a kid, but I didn't really even understand and comprehend myself the full impact of what happened because I couldn't handle it.
Right.
All of it, I started screaming. How I started writing this book is that I called to get my birth certificate from New York because I lost my birth certificate, right? And I need to get a passport. And so I called New York and they're like, we don't do that no more. Vital Check does it. So I get on the phone with Vital Check after they tell me I don't have a birth certificate. And I'm like, look, I need my birth certificate because I want to travel. And you guys are telling me that I don't have a birth certificate. And they're like, well, sorry, sir, Forrest Lang doesn't exist in our system. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Forrest Lang, like, what's going on? And they said, well, does this name mean anything to you? And they told me the name of my foster parents' family. And when they said that, I remembered that my foster mom adopted me so Child Protective Services would stop coming over. And then I remembered everything else. It went like forward and backward to when I was a kid, and I started screaming.
Yeah, it's that tower moment, man.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I had a massive meltdown. It was like, boom.
Made it real.
That has to be overwhelming.
It really did happen. All that stuff really did happen. I'm not making
right. You start doubting yourself. You're like,
you do, and you think, is it a dream? Was I imagining this? You do. You question yourself. You think, well, I was so young. Was I understanding this correctly? Right.
Me of lying in a spiritual growth retreat in the Navy when I was 21 because they said to raise your hand if anything that somebody else shared happened to you too. It's like it happened to me too time. And I raised my hand for everything. And this therapist pulled me to the side and they're like, what's up, man? You need attention? Like, what's going on?
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't need any more fucking attention.
They told me to do. They're like, nobody has that much stuff happen to them. And so I was like, okay, cool, I won't share about it anymore because, and I don't want to be the guy in a group that overtakes it anyways, right? Like, I don't want to be the one with like the most attention. I won the trauma Olympics, like big whoopty fucking shit, but I put it away. I put it away. And the older I got, the harder it was to put away. The harder away. And so I got to face it, move through it, or else it kills me.
So when so you've been releasing this from your body or your mind, your soul in little pieces, and then you have this epiphany moment, okay? And then at what age was that, and how often now do you release it all? Is it all released? And I guess I'm getting to the final question. Where do you get to your point of authenticity, yourself, your comfort, that you feel, and this is a cheesy word, like cleansed? You feel like you're your core, your authentic self. I accept it. I am what I am. And it sort of goes back to the beginning of this podcast. I really wanted to talk about authenticity, and you were commenting on people responding to your book and the haters. When do you get to that authentic part where that it doesn't even matter? You wrote the book for yourself, and so fuck it. I know you want to make money off it and that kind of stuff, but you're in that authentic zone with the pedophilia gone. You're just you, and you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, because it's me, it's my life. I choose to live or I choose to die.
I'll tell you, I could make $0 off that book, and I would still write it and give it away. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't afraid to make money. I do tattoos. They pay me money for it. I wrote a book. They'll buy it or they won't. But that was not a motivation, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I had to. I had to do something. And the motivation is there wasn't a book for me to read when I got to that place. And I don't know, brother. Like, I don't know when the end is, because I don't know somebody who did this. Bertie Moses is dead, bro. He didn't make it. Steven Stainer's dead too. Like, I don't know. It'll be what it'll be. But I know I know that I couldn't have written it for one person. I couldn't have written it to help one person. It's been way too much, too hard. Like, to save one person's life, I couldn't do it. But to save 3 people's lives, I could totally do it again. You know what I mean?
And not to mention
you're saving so many people's lives with your authenticity. You've hit all the boxes, right? All the red boxes. But I just think it's a genuineness you have that's what gets to people. It's what gets to me, is you're real. And I want to know your comfort zone with. Do you feel like that? We preface this whole thing about being on camera. When do you get to that point where I don't care? I'm just being me.
I don't think there's an arrival point, man, in recovery. I really don't. Like, we want the door closed. Like, we've done this, and now this door is open and this door is closed. But really, all of it is spectral, right? Like, how much peace do I have today? How much in forgiveness am I today? How much am I enjoying life today?
It really is.
Life
day to day?
How often?
My thing is I have no regrets, no remorse.
I have regret, because regret's an emotion. I don't get to choose. I absolutely have remorse. If I could take back Thomas's death, are you kidding me, man? Like, I lost my friend, but it's that, you know what I mean? And like, life is good. Yeah, bad things happen. And also good things happen too, right? Yes, there's no guarantee, but also there's hope, right? Yes, there's failure, but there's also success. Every success has a mountain of failure behind it. Like, we want things to be simple and easy, just to fit in a box. And some things do, right? Like, lift the weights, you'll get bigger. Eat the food, lift the weights, follow the diet plan. But the mental stuff, we're at a point in human evolution where we've got it down. We're still figuring it out.